Question for Tim. Go ahead and raise your hand and you'll be called on. Just to kick things off, we've had 2 big knockout victories back to back, generated a lot of heat. Tell me what those victories have done for your confidence going into this rematch.
I just think, the fighter I've developed into like the last couple of years or even this last year, the attrition rate just from moving over to, I've almost been living in Vegas for like 2 years now. So I think maybe finally I'm finally starting to see some results from the move over there to Extreme Couture, and with the type of practice partners I have in there every day. That probably gives me more confidence than my last 2 wins, the guys that I spar with every day.
Great. Jay?
Hey, Tim, welcome back. Just a quick one. First of all, you're looking a little trim. Maybe the camera loses 10 pounds in your case. Have you slimmed down a little for this?
Yeah, I'm coming in a little bit lighter than I normally do. Usually I kind of walk around 270, 274 on fight week and kind of just walk down about 5 pounds. I think I'm coming in about 262 right now. So then, hopefully in the next couple of years, I'm just going to keep trimming down a little bit. Hopefully my end goal is to be under 255 by the end of by next summer.
Good stuff. Now, I want to ask you, first of all, you've been asking for this rematch for a little while. Were you surprised to finally get it, and especially in a card as historic as this?
Yeah, I guess I kind of was. Just to reiterate, this isn't like some kind of vendetta against Czech. I could handle losing, but not losing like the way I did. I think a lot of fighters would say that, as long as I go out there and put a product that I'm happy with, I can handle a loss. I just wanted, this fight isn't against Czech Congo. This fight's against myself more than anything.
Given how that first fight went, it was over pretty quick. Is there anything you take away from it, or do you look at this as a fresh start entirely?
I look at it as a fresh start entirely. There's one way I could look at it. What's the worst going to happen? The worst has already happened. You go out there and lose in under a minute. So, that's every fighter's worst nightmare. So, I think if it's going to be pretty easy bar to set to do better than I did last time.
The last one for me. This is the first MMA event in France, obviously a historic night. How cool is it to be part of that?
Yeah, it's super, very cool. And no matter what happens, I know I'll be always attached to some sort of history.
All right, we'll go to Ben.
Hey, Tim. With Congo fighting for the belt last time around, and obviously there being some unfinished business there, do you believe that a victory over him on Saturday would secure you the next shot of the belt?
I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not going to really talk on that right now. I've done that in the past where I'm already looking at, where a fight will get me. Right now it's just Czech, but at the same time, I understand the weight of this fight. It definitely should put me in talks of it. Beating Matt, he was in the semifinals, so technically he was, in the top 4, and Czech just fought for one, and that was went to no contest. So yeah, I think at least it should put me in conversation.
Just one more from me. If I'm not mistaken, this is your first time headlining a major show, and of course it's a really historic one. How do you feel about having that extra spotlight on you?
I don't even really think about it that much. No matter where you're at on the card, you still have to go and fight. It doesn't matter. If you're the first guy on the undercard or if you're on the main event, it's still it's still a fight. Everything else is just sidebar stuff.
Okay, we'll go to Matt, followed by Giancarlo.
Hiya, Tim. It's Matt from Behind the Gloves here in the UK.
Hey.
I just wanted to ask you, you've had 2 big wins already this year, so you've been really active in comparison with your opponent who's not been as active. Do you think that will play a part in this fight, that you've come off 2 big wins?
I could look at it a couple different ways. I've been going pretty steady since I haven't taken a break since June 30th or June 29th. Just went into a short fight camp, fought Matt, and then came right back to a fight camp again. I might be a little worn out from that. I don't know yet. My body's still reacting pretty well. But from Czech's point of view, I don't think he's been at this game a long time. It's not going to affect him. Taking a break isn't going to affect him at all. But yeah, I guess maybe I'll be a little more crisp. No ring rust, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Giancarlo.
Hi, Tim. This is an interesting pandemic time for you. You fought at that Mohegan Sun card with no fans, and now you're going to be fighting here in Paris against Congo with fans. So does that take a toll on you mentally? Like, do you have to prepare differently for that?
No, I do a pretty good job of avoiding kind of blocking out fans anyways, but I will say I was more of a fan with no fans. I kind of like that actually. Usually I was just strictly business, go walk to the cage, fight, walk back out. But I don't think it's going to be enough fans that it'll make it too big of a difference. I think what they're only allowing like 5,000 or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but not enough to fill 1,000. Well, I was way off 1,000. So that's not enough to really take effect of really a big crowd atmosphere, and you'll just probably hear some individual yelling, but that's about it.
And final one for me, like you talked about there about your training camp. These last 2 fights, you've looked really good in there. Just was it any advice or something differently you did in your camp that has led to this?
No, that's just what I was saying earlier. I think it's kind of just the attrition rate of, getting beat up every day at Extreme Couture by just a slew of heavyweights. That's which I wasn't getting, when I was in Fargo, North Dakota, I wasn't getting that. And a lot of people switch camps and they want instant results, which doesn't happen. Everything takes time. And, I've lived there almost 2 years now training there. And I think finally starting to see the results pay off.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Tim.
All right.
Appreciate your time.
Easy peasy. Thank you.
We'll be joined shortly by Ross Houston.
You have to know where I go for the commentators.
So as I said, we'll be joined shortly by Ross Houston. If you have any questions for Ross, why don't you go ahead and queue up by raising your hand now.
5 seconds doesn't sound like a long time. And a 100-yard dash, it's forever. Beautiful liver shot, that hurt him. Santos is of MVP. A, it's hard to keep your right hand up. B, it's very hard to move. C,
Okay, we're now being joined by Ross Houston. If you have any questions for Ross, go ahead and raise your hand. We will start with Damon Martin. Damon?
Hey, Ross. Thanks for being here today. Let me open, before I talk about this fight, I think a lot of people remember your last fight, the bloodiest fight in mixed martial arts history, a little over a year ago. What did you take away from that battle and kind of the attention you received after such a crazy fight with Nicholas Dalby?
I think I took away the fact I need to work on my defense a bit. I'm good dishing it out, but maybe I take a bit too much sometimes. So the layoff I've had since that fight, we worked a lot on my defensive skills, not getting hit as much, being a bit more evasive. But yeah, we got a good, it was kind of like, it was a weird one because it was kind of like bittersweet. Obviously, none of us got the win. But obviously, it brought a lot of attention to both our names because of just the sheer amount of blood, to be honest. But it was a good experience, you know. It's I think, you know, I've had fights where I finish people fast, and I've had fights where, you know, I show up and go to deep waters, and like, if shit hits the fan, then I'm ready.
Coming out of that fight, you know, a lot of options for you, undefeated, you know, Cage Warriors champion, all those great things. What made you want to ultimately sign with Bellator? What was it about Bellator that you said, this is where I want to fight now?
You know what? I'm always looking to fight the top guys, and I feel like the Bellator welterweight division in particular, it's got, I thought, you know, this is the spot for me to show that I'm not only the best welterweight in Europe, I'm up there with the best welterweights on the planet as well. So after I beat MVP Saturday night, we'll move on to world title number 2.
Going into this fight, you know, Michael Venom Page has obviously done a lot of great things, but the biggest discussion or debate about him is hype versus reality. Is he a great fighter who just beats everybody, or is he, you know, getting the lower level competition, he's picking them apart, and then when he fought Douglas Lima, he got knocked out? Where do you stand on the argument with MVP? Is it more hype or reality with him?
You know what? I think I'd be stupid to say that he hasn't got the skills. He's obviously a very skilled fighter. He's got his kickboxing background. He's a multiple world champion in that. But I feel like I don't think he's fought someone quite as well-rounded as me, other than obviously Douglas Lima. Douglas Lima and the Paul Daly fight are the ones that stand out. And obviously the Lima fight went the way it went. Daly fight was quite close. And I just feel like I'm very well-rounded. And I just feel like, you know, he has got the skills, but I know I'm better. And Saturday night, I'm just going to use my full well-rounded skill set as a mixed martial artist, a combat athlete, and as a fighter in particular to get the win.
And last one for me, you know, signing with Bellator, you could have fought a lot of people. As you mentioned, there's a pretty deep welterweight division in Bellator, but getting a guy like MVP who has so much hype and attention behind him, how big would a win here, you know, kind of set the stage? I mean, do you feel like a win here right away could put you in title contention?
I'll be asking for it either way once I beat him on Saturday. But here's the thing, I asked for MVP because obviously from the business side of things, I know the weight that's behind his name and what a win against him will do for my career. You know, I don't know the guy enough for personal. It's just strictly business. So obviously scalping MVP is going to put me right up there, and I'll be asking for the title shot.
Okay, we do have a lot of questions, so if we could limit to 1 or 2, we will go to Donna Corby.
Hey Ross, how's it going? Were you expecting to be offered a fight as big as MVP right out of the gate with Bellator? I know that certain guys who have names behind them like yourself have been given, let's say, slightly easier fights than this out of the gate. Were you expecting to get such a big one?
You know what? I feel like I could have got easier fights and still got a payday, but that's not the kind of character I am. You know what I mean? So in terms of like, did I expect it to happen? Maybe not, because I felt like I wasn't really from MVP's from Michael's point of view, I felt like maybe there wasn't a lot in it for him. You know what I mean? Kind of in terms of like, you know, he's obviously got a big name, and what does a win against me offer him? But then, you know what? I'm a world champion. I'm undefeated. So here's his chance to show that whether or not he can do it against someone who's legit. And, you know, he's going to fail at that test Saturday night. So, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. It's here it is, you know what I mean? I didn't expect it to happen fully, to be honest. But it's, you know, you can play the card you dealt, man. I'll take advantage of this opportunity.
What do you make of his style? He's the kind of guy who he showboats while he's fighting, he showboats after he's fighting. There was a whole discussion the last couple of weeks about similar stuff, you know, where Israel Adesanya didn't, he was pretty disrespectful after his fight. MVP is known to do similar stuff to that. What do you make of the whole MVP style in the cage?
You know, I don't really read into it too much. I feel like even though people say be yourself, obviously we've all got different characters in life in terms of like, you know, he's got, it's a business for me, it's a business for him. You know, he's got to sell tickets. So I don't really, I take nothing personally. It's, in terms of his style, it is what it is. But here's the thing, I feel like I've got the strongest mind in MMA period in the whole entire planet. So none of his antics, whether it's before the fight or during the cage, are going to affect me. And I think his style, although it's obviously a high level style, it's nothing that solid fundamentals won't beat.
We'll go to Jay, followed by Darren.
Thanks very much. Just a couple of quick ones. Ross, first of all, I mean, you've obviously had some big fights before in Cage Warriors. The title comes to mind, but the first event in France, how does this stack up? It's
crazy. You know what? Here's the thing, because like the previous question, I asked for to fight Michael, and like I wasn't entirely confident that I'd get it. So that getting offered him in the first place was massive, and I didn't know anything about the French MMA history. So it was like when I was told that was crazy. You know what I mean? It's just so weird, because I started this thing almost like, you know, 10 years ago, just as a young lad trying to stay out of trouble, and it's like I never looked too far into the future, and it just like I'm sitting here. I woke up this morning, I'm a curtains closed. I woke up this morning, I like opened the curtains, and like they put me on the top floor in like some fancy hotel in Paris, and it's just looking over Paris, and I'm like, freaking hell, man. It's like, you know, just fighting is what I love to do, and fighting's got me to this position. It's just weird, to be honest. It's not really fully sunk in, but it's going to, obviously, once it's all said and done in many years to come, once I'm done fighting, it's just going to be a class, lifelong memory, and especially the whole like the BBC deal that's came out today. So it's like a hat trick. You know, beat MVP on Saturday night. It's going to be my first win on Bellator. It's going to be the first ever major event in France, which I'm headlining. That's the first show on BBC. It's just class.
And it's my only other question. You know, we've been through the pandemic. A lot of fighters have gone through it. This is your first fight. I mean, what's training camp looked like for you with all the restrictions and everything?
Training camp's been fine, to be honest. Outside of the fighting, I've got my own martial arts MMA club as well. So obviously during the pandemic and the lockdown, we open. So if anything, it's just mean I've had like, even though I love my gym and my coaching and all that, it's just been one less responsibility. I've pretty much only had to focus on myself throughout pretty much this whole year. So it's gave me time to you know, concentrate on my conditioning with my coach Ian Finley, concentrate on my skill side of things a lot with Cam Cheng and Ross Circuit. Man, it's just you know, it's been I feel a bit in a really, really selfish way for my personal fighting career. It's been beneficial.
Darren?
Thank you very much for your time here, Ross. Looking forward to everything that's coming up for you. When you're having a big fight like the one that you have with Bellator coming up, how is your training regimen different than it is during, say, an off week or an off season?
Do you mean in terms of like this week in particular, or in general?
Yeah, in general, nutritionally and fitness speaking, how does it compare?
You know what? It's over the last. I've improved each fight in terms of not only like the level of opposition I'm fighting, but in terms of like the way I approach training. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been working with a conditioning coach, a new conditioning coach for the past 12 months after the Derby fight. Ian Finley. So I feel like that's been a big change for the better. And like I've just taken things a lot more. Even I've been taking things seriously. I'm training smarter rather than just training to, run myself empty every day. I'm kind of training smarter, thinking about, all right, I've got to this level through some fights just because I know I'm a natural fighter. You know what I mean? That's either with you or it's not. And luckily, that's in my family's blood. But I feel like in terms of that and like the way me and my coaches have approached the training is changed a lot, to be honest. And it's just things for the better. I've brought on a new nutritionist for the first time for this camp as well. I've never done that in Jacob Nutrition, and it's like I'm a very big welterweight, and he's just going to make sure I go into the cage massive anyway, so he's gonna make a big difference with this fight.
Santiago.
Hi Ross, greetings from Amsterdam. 2 short questions for me. Are you happy that this fight is playing out at a catchweight?
Yeah, real happy. Here's the thing. Obviously, we signed for 170, which I was happy about. And then he wanted 175 for whatever reason. And in my head, I'm like, all right, that suits me because I'm really big for the weight anyway. But obviously, we didn't let him have it too easy. So I had to go a bit of back and forth between Bellator and him in terms of the deals. But here we are at 175. It suits me down to a T. And, it just means like it's just going to make up for a better fight. It's going to show who's the better fighter on fight night because we've got that little bit less of a stress on our body making weight. And we're both going there comfortable, have a good fight, and may the best man win.
And then last thing for me, Bellator has some excellent Scottish fighters on the roster now. What would it mean to you if Bellator would put up an event in Scotland? And do you think this will be a huge success?
For sure, man. The Scottish MMA scene's on fire right now. One of my good friends and training partners, Chris Duncan, got a big win in Milan. He's an absolute beast. So between him and the other Scottish MMA fighters and myself, we do big things. Man, we sell out that arena. I know Chris Bongard's got a big Celtic football team following. You know what I mean? So I don't say he'd probably drag a lot of numbers as well, man. So yeah, get it done, man. I'll beat MVP on Saturday night. We've got these wins, man. We've got a lot of hype. So who knows? Maybe Lima title shot in Glasgow in the future.
Okay, we'll take just a couple more. Lenny.
How's it going, Ross?
How you doing?
Can you hear me? Yep.
Yep, loud and clear.
All right, perfect. An MVP this weekend, and we kind of mentioned earlier that MVP is a huge name. He's very unorthodox, but when Bellator rang you and they said it's going to be MVP action, how did you kind of feel about
that? Can you say that last bit one more time, please?
Okay, so when Bellator rang you, the opposition, that it will be MVP, how did you kind of react to Michael Venom Page being your opponent?
I was buzzing. Like I said earlier, I didn't expect to actually get offered it, so it was like a dream come true, to be honest. And it's just so big because it's just really motivating because I'm always looking to fight a better opponent than my last and just constantly climb up the ladder and get to the top. So an opponent like MVP and the stage that it's on is amazing in terms of like the motivation it's given me for training. I've never trained so hard and so well in my life, and it's just exciting. We got 2 top British welterweights battling it out first time on BBC, man. So delighted. I'm delighted.
All right, 2 more, Ben.
Hi Ross, happy belated birthday for the other day.
Oh, thank you.
I've seen a lot of American fans online who may not be familiar with you and clearly don't watch European MMA, who have just sort of been dismissing your chances as just another can for MVP to crush. Have you seen any of that? And does that sort of galvanize you, sort of being underestimated by some people?
Yeah, I didn't pay too much attention to it. I've seen 1 or 2 comments. It's quite funny, to be honest, because I'm sitting there undefeated with a world title around my waist and I'm a can, so I don't know what it says for the other 99% of people fighters out there, but yeah, it is what it is, man. What you're going to do, it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like, what the saying goes, if you've got haters and you've got doubters, then you do something right. You know what I mean? It means once you got the attention and your name's on the platform, you must be doing something right. And yeah, I feel it on both sides, obviously, because every person MVP fights, he gets told he's fighting a can. But you know, I would hope that he knows that he's up against that on Saturday, or else it's going to be a really, really bad night for him.
And just one more from me. You posted a pic of you 5 years ago working on a building site in Paris before you turned over to MMA full time. Do you have any advice to any young fighters who may be working a career alongside their MMA journey? I'll be contemplating as to whether or not to go full time in the sport.
Here's the thing: it's like everyone's got to live and earn money. So I was in a position where before I quit my job on the oil and gas industry, I knew that I was able to open up an MMA club. So you've obviously got to have some kind of income and revenue coming in. But the way I looked at it is, like, I look at it in loads of terms of things, because some people are like, the sport's bad for you in terms of like your health, and like there's nothing guaranteed in terms of like money and all that. But you only live once, you know, and you've only got a short period between, I don't know, like 18 to like 35, 36 now, where you can compete in this sport, you know what I mean? So and you only live once, man. It's a bit of a cliche, but you know, you give it a go, man. You know, if that's really what you want to do, then give it a go. But you got to be realistic with yourself. If you're kind of like, if you've given up something, then to chase that full time and give it your all. You know, don't just go half-assed with it. You got to give it your all. Kind of like you hear about a lot of people saying, blah blah blah, could have made it if it wasn't for this and that. Like staying away from the distractions, but that's the hard bit. I think anyone can make it, but the hard bit is staying away from the distractions, you know, staying on the road, and that as long as you turn up, you're consistent and you're training smart, man, you know, you can do it.
Cheers, Ross.
All right. Thank you very much, Ross. Appreciate it, and good luck. Sorry if we didn't get to your questions. We will be joined shortly by Saul Rogers. If you have a question for Saul, go ahead and use the raise hand button now. All right, we're now being joined by Saul Rogers. If you have a question, go ahead and use the raise hand button. We will get started with Ben Allen.
Hi, so it's been a fight week unlike any other you've obviously experienced due to COVID and all that. How do you feel? How's your experience been living in the bubble?
You know what? It's different, to say the least, but I can't complain for all the kind of new regulations and all that stuff in place. I've got to be grateful. There's a lot of guys on the sideline, and I'm here when I get to fight. Do you know what I'm saying? So can't complain too much, but it's different. I'll tell you that.
And have you fought in some big stages throughout your storied career? But obviously, this is a historic event due to it being the first major MMA show in France. How do you feel about being part of history?
Do you know what? It's massive. I've got a lot of French friends, you know, and when I've been doing stuff in the past, it was illegal for them to even, I'm sure it was illegal for them to even train MMA. So fast forward a few years, and they've got a show on of this caliber in this stadium. I'm proud. I'm proud of how far I've come and that I've been selected to be a part of something like this. And I'll forever be down as in this kind of part of history. So yeah, I'm proud, man.
And last but not least, you're taking on RB Mezadov on Saturday, who's making his Bellator debut, and he's not exactly one of the more well-known names amongst the fan base. So, what do you know about your opponent?
Do you know what? To me, he looks like a good boxer. But in this game, at this level, everyone can do everything, box, strike, wrestle, all that other kind of stuff. But that's all I know about him. But for me, I'm coming back in this one with a bang, you know what I'm saying? So everything he does, I feel like I can do 10 times better. And it doesn't matter what he brings on the night because I'm coming to destroy. Mark my words.
Thanks a lot, Saul.
All right, next we'll go to Luis, followed by Nat.
Hi. You return in Bellator big event in French. How do you feel about it?
I feel good. I mean, this is a massive event, but these are the events that I should be a part of. I consider myself one of the best guys in the UK, one of the best fighters in the world. Just give me the time to kind of prove that. So even though it's a historic event and it's an event of this magnitude, I feel at home and I feel like this is where I should be anyway.
You are one-on-one in Bellator. Do you have any plans for your future for this fight?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't fight the way I wanted to fight last fight, and it was still close against one of the top seeds in Bellator. So I feel like a couple statement fights, a couple good finishes, and that will put me straight back up there in title contention. And mark my words, I'll have that belt wrapped around my waist soon. 2021. Take out 2 or 3 guys, and that's it. I'm going for that belt.
Thank you, and good luck in your fight.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to Nat, followed by Rick.
Hey, Saul. You and your opponent both have identical records, 13 wins, 3 defeats. Are you confident that you can bounce back from the last defeat and get the win over RB? And if so, how does this fight play out for you?
We've both got similar records, but again, I should be another 4 wins onto that record because my tough fights as well, you know what I mean? It's fucking tough. I'm fighting some of the best guys in the world as well. Most of these guys are going on to do well in other promotions now. So really, I should be 17-3. And if you look at the caliber of guys I've fought all throughout my career, I've fought the highest level of guys, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like he's not fought the guys I've fought. And the way I'm feeling right now, it doesn't matter who you put me in against. You put me in against an RB, you put me in against a champ. I'm going to destroy anyone you put me in against. And I'll put my life to that.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Rick.
Yes, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. My question is, how's the pressure going on for this week for being in the Bellator kickboxing and the first time in France?
Do you know what? It's like any other day. There's no pressure. I've been doing this a long time now. Been competing at this level a long time. So it's any other fight. You know what I'm saying? No different. I'm just glad that I've been chosen to be a part of this historic event, something that will go down in history, and I'm a small part of that. But as far as pressure goes, there's no pressure.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll go to Donna.
Hey, how's it going? I wanted to ask, a few of the guys that you were on the Ultimate Fighter with, who you beat relatively comfortably, have gone on to do great things in the UFC. I'm thinking Billy Quarantillo particularly is on a real tear right now. Does it ever frustrate you to see those guys that you kind of handled doing so well?
Do you know what? You got guys like him. You got guys like Ryan all these guys, Ryan's like calling it top 5 guys. And I beat both of these guys comfortably. And you put me back in the cage with them guys, I'll beat them both again. Do you know what I'm saying? All I've been missing for recently is a little bit of my confidence, which I've more than got back now. So although I was kind of frustrated for a long time seeing them kind of perform like that, I've kind of took a step back and thought, do you know what? Instead of kind of concerning myself with them, I need to be concerning myself with being the best fighter in the world, which I truly believe I am, and I will be over time. So that I've kind of switched the frustration to a bit of self-confidence and self-belief, and it's kind of boosting me up there. So I know what I'm capable of, and soon I'm going to go out there and show it.
Obviously, you're an SPG guy as well, so maybe it's not something that's possible. But I know that there's the different branches and stuff. I saw on when I was looking through your record years and years and years ago, you fought the great Artem Lobov, and he has talked about coming. He has talked about coming to Bellator and fighting in the cage. He said it's inevitable. Would you ever see yourself mixing it up with him again?
Yeah, do you know what? If he comes over and the fight makes sense, then it's going to have to happen. There'll be a lot of guys who want to kind of see that fight. So yeah, 100%.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Saul. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
All right. We will be joined shortly by Ryan Scope. If you have a question for Ryan, go ahead and queue up now. guys, we are switching things up here, and we will go to Michael Page instead of Ryan Stokes. He will be joining us in just a second. All right, we're now being joined by Michael Page, MVP. We'll get the question started with Jay Anderson. Your line is live.
MVP, welcome back. I wanted to ask, first of all, I've asked a couple of fighters this. What is it like getting to take part in a bit of history Saturday with the first MMA card in France?
Yeah, it's great. Obviously, it just makes it that much more of an occasion. Coming back after all this COVID-19 madness that's still ongoing right now. Having the sports back is a great thing. So that's already feels like a bit of an occasion. And then to add it being just a historic event, just because it's the first time France has actually opened the doors to MMA, just gets me that much more excited. So yeah, I'm happy.
Does the fans being back play a role as well? I know there's not going to be a full house or anything because of the restrictions, but it's one of the rare occasions recently where we're going to see fans in the building.
Yeah, no, again, I think it's a shame that it had dropped down to, I believe it's like 1,000 people now. I'm not entirely sure. But it's a shame that it couldn't, because it is such a historical event that's about to take place. It's a shame that we couldn't get a full house in there. It would have been great, but it's definitely a reason to come back to France and put on a show later on when everything's kind of back to normal.
Now you've got Ross Houston here, undefeated Cage Warriors champion. He is a tough test, and then if you hear some of the commentary online or from certain areas of the fan base, they label him as a can or just a guy that you're going to crush. Does that frustrate you? Because it really does take away from, what you have to do this weekend, and he is a quality opponent.
Yeah, you know what? It's a bit of an unfortunate side effect to my style. And I've said this from a long time ago, because if I beat all the exact same people that I've beaten so far, but in a very different, more generic style, where it's a bit more of a back and forward, I get hit a couple of times and, I get rocked and I come back, and people would just label me, oh yeah, this guy's a great fighter, he's tough. And I wouldn't have that kind of, oh, he's fighting cans appeal. But because of my style, I make really good opponents look very mediocre, which is great entertainment wise. It's great for me as a fighter because I'm able to keep really safe and still be devastating. But that's I said, there's a side effect to that where people just don't believe in the opponents that I have. Unless they're really high level named opponents. I'm talking from my first ever MMA fight. People were trying to match me up against Anderson Silva and GSP and people like that immediately, and I've barely done 6 months of jiu-jitsu. So that just shows you, like I said, the effect of my style.
Donna?
Michael, I have 3 quick ones if you don't mind. The first one is, where does Ross Houston rank? Obviously he's the toughest opponent you've faced since the Douglas Lima fight. But where does he rank in your overall career of of tough fights for you? I mean, he's obviously not Douglas Lima, but is he in the Paul Daly range?
Again, I couldn't tell you. Until I know a lot of people have asked these kind of questions before, and before I've actually stepped in a cage with somebody. I might go in there and it'd be one of the toughest fights I've ever had. I might go in there and it'd just be a typical day in the park with MVP. So as soon as I finish, you can ask that question again.
Obviously, people like the last question said, people call you a can crusher. I mean, there are certain people who maybe you've made look like cans. You know, Richard Kiley's no can, but he's you made it look that way. But do you think now with the COVID regulations, with the fact that you're not going to be performing in front of crowds? I know that what you did towards the end of last year, you did 3 different markets in 3 months. You did Dublin, you did Japan, you did London. Do you think now, without that appeal being there, you're only going to be asking for the top guys from
Yeah, no, to be fair, I if it wasn't, I don't even believe I'd be matched up with Ross Houston if it wasn't for the situation that I'm actually in at the moment. I'm unable to get to the States. A lot of the American fighters aren't able to come over here. So, which is why we have to find, credible opponents in Europe. And he definitely is a credible opponent. Like, again, he's achieved something I haven't achieved in a world title within MMA. So, I have to give him his dues, and he's also undefeated. I got to change that, but it's a hard thing to change when somebody's just used to winning all the time. So yeah, it's a tough fight, and I just look forward to the challenge.
Michael, we're going to get Ryan Scope on again, and I know that his fight was a big deal. Your fight was also a big deal the last time you were here in Ireland. Could you? We're just past the year anniversary of that incredible night at the Free Arena. Can you kind of, can you have a word on looking back on that great night, the build-up? You obviously had a very heated build-up to your fight that evening, and kind of tell us your best memories of the time you fought in Dublin.
Oh mate, just that whole week of being out there was amazing. Stepping into the arena and hearing, I love supporters that really do support. I liked about the Irish fans is they support their own, and I think that's important to them. They're passionate about their country, which is, again, I love to see, which I don't get to see as much in the UK in London. And see just people don't get behind each other like that in the same way, and just hearing that noise. But at the same time, they are also martial arts fans as well, so they appreciate a good fight, they appreciate talent, and the comments that I got, so I was out speaking to fans before and afterwards, and it was just great. They truly do love watching the sport, and it's nice for the effort that we put in to kind of receive genuine praise afterwards. So it's great. It was an epic time there.
We'll go to Ben, followed by Andrew.
Hi, Mike. I'm going to merge my 2 questions into one. So you're on a 3-fight winning streak following your title shot against Douglas Lima, and I assume after making it 4, you're going to be gunning for that rematch there. But obviously, Lima's moving up to challenge for that middleweight belt. Would you be willing to take another fight in the interim, depending on how his situation plays out? And also, how do you actually see Lima versus Musasi going down?
Yeah, so that fight is the fight that I want. I'm more interested in that fight than anything else. If Lima was to decide to stay in middleweight, then I'm going to meet him in middleweight. And he actually says it didn't go his way. Is even more ambitious for him to want to step in and do that in public. So again, I think he's an amazing athlete, got a great mindset, and I'm just going to be a fan on the side, just waiting to see the result. But either way, I want him afterwards.
Andrew?
Hello, mate. Yeah, kind of carrying on from that. As a competitor, it was kind of business as usual for you. You got 3 wins on the bounce after losing to Lima. So how important is it just to get mate. Yeah, kind of carrying on from that, to get back the person who defeated you before? How significant is that for you to get Lima?
You know what? It's very significant, but not because I lost. Not just because I lost the fight. Now, if it was a close back and forth, and I lost, or I got completely dominated and I just lost that fight, I probably wouldn't be that eager to get back. I know to myself that there's a lot of work that I need to do to kind of get back to that level. What is more frustrating and why I want to get that back is because I felt like I was in control of that fight. I felt like I almost gave that fight to him, being over eager, being a bit too overconfident in a small moment, and forgetting that at that level, those small mistakes are devastating mistakes, are massively detrimental, as everybody saw. And I think that's what's more frustrating. You know, I had him rocked, and I actually said that, I can't remember what interview or who I was talking to, but I said it's going to end in the second round. Either he's going to be on the floor or I'm going to be on the floor. That's exactly how I said it, and that's exactly how it went down. I just feel like it should have been the other way around, or it was on its way to heading in that direction. And I made a few stupid mistakes that just should never happen. And that's the reason why I'm chasing it, because I feel like I know what should have happened. And it's more frustrating when you feel like you gave something away versus actually just losing.
Does this feel like a special night for British MMA? Of course, you know, the first one in Paris, France, but the BBC thing feels massive, and you got one of the biggest stars in British MMA and a guy who's much beloved back on the British scene as well. So does it feel like a piece of history for British MMA?
Yeah, 100%. I think Bellator have been amazing with regards to getting out to the European audience. People are really starting to know who Bellator is, know the organization of Bellator. And this is, you know, re-educating people that think UFC is MMA, which is great. So people are like, you know, really are starting to acknowledge different organizations and actually understand what the, you know, our situation is. And having BBC on board is just that's going to make it, you know, we're going to go out to way more people. And you know how I feel about that. The more eyes that's on me, the more I want to act out, shall I say, but in a very entertaining way. So I'm definitely looking forward to this night. It's definitely going to be history for the UK and for France.
All right, we'll go to Lenny. Take 2 more questions.
How's it going, MVP?
Good. How's it going?
Yeah, so what's it been like leading up to the fight in the COVID situation? How's it been like in training? Has that kind of affected you in any way?
Fortunately, London Shoot Fighters, we were classed as an elitist gym very early on, which meant anybody that is a professional fighter was able to continue training. We had to adhere to COVID, you know, practices, shall I say, that we had to adhere to. But either way, that definitely kept me sane. I wasn't cooped up in my house like a lot of other people. So I was fortunate to be able to travel to training, and the roads were empty. So it was nice. Get to train every day and still kind of keep that momentum going. And like I said, just keep it. It definitely helps with the mental aspect of things during that time. So and what also was a great thing is where there's a lot of other gyms that with professional fighters that didn't have gyms accessible to them, they were now coming to our gym. So we ended up with so many new bodies at our gym, working with so many new bodies. A lot of people are very scared of our gym just because we've got a bit of a reputation about how hard we spar and how tough it is there. And it is definitely tough there, but people were then forced to come just because they had no other options. And it was great, definitely a good time for our training.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the fight this weekend against Ross Houston. Do you feel like, what are you going to expect from Ross Houston that night?
I don't really expect anything other than him being a tough MMA fighter, and you know he's going to want to go for the win. It's a lottery night for anybody that fights me, because they'll make a name for themselves immediately. So he's going to be a tough MMA fighter. I've come across a load of them, and I'm going to be me. And a lot of the time, being me works. So that's what I'm going to focus on.
Okay, we'll take 2 more. Santiago, followed by Michael Morgan.
Hi, Michael. Greetings from Amsterdam. Do you still want to do boxing matches, or is your focus only on MMA?
My focus at the moment is MMA, but I definitely I'm not stopping with the boxing. I think I just liked interrupting things over there, because I get the feeling they don't like people coming in from the outside and causing a bit of an uproar, especially with the kind of style that I have. There's a lot of boxing pugilists that just can't stand that kind of style, full stop. And it's even worse when it doesn't come straight from boxing. So yeah, I'm definitely not gonna stop doing the boxing.
They don't like that, man. I love that style. One last thing for me, Michael. Bellator is looking to come to Amsterdam next year. Would you like to fight in a country like Holland, where the people adore beautiful striking like yours?
Exactly. It's the same thing I said about the Irish fans. In Amsterdam, it's exactly the same. They are pure. They love martial arts. They love combat. And I go over there quite a lot. I've got a lot of friends over there. I used to go back and forward almost just every year. I used to go like 3 or 4, 5 times just to go and see friends over there. And I've seen how they are over there with regards to the martial arts. So it's yeah, Amsterdam is definitely a place I'd like to perform in.
All right, Michael.
Michael, in previous videos and interviews we've conducted with you, you've given us some highlights and, viral moments, one of which you predicted very precisely how the Cyborg fight would go down to a T. I mean, how does this fight actually go down to a T?
I'm going to be very honest. I haven't watched Ross Houston yet in terms of any of his fights. I will do over the next couple of days. I'll have a little watch, but I haven't watched him enough to kind of answer that question in the way I want. But for now, I'm more focused on how good I'm feeling, how good I have been feeling in the gym, and some of the stuff that I've been pulling out in the gym is insane. So if I pull out even a 5% of that, it's going to be a rough night for Houston. So I'm just focusing on making sure I can deliver exactly that. There's a couple of special moves I would like to land.
Here we go.
He's quite a tight ship. He seems very composed, but I tend to break that down quite well and bring that emotion out in people. So I'm sure I'll do the same.
Just a couple more from me. The prevalence of Black Lives Matter at the moment is obviously doing a worldwide trip. And I noticed that you were actually present at least one of the marches. A lot of people are, I suppose, divided on Black Lives Matter now because of, I suppose the bad press that they're getting in terms of things which are slowly being uncovered. Where are you today as we stand on Black Lives Matter?
I'm doing a lot of work with the Taking the Initiative Party, which is a party full of different company owners within the Black community, within the Muslim community, getting together. So I'm doing a lot of work in the background just to try and help these things. So sometimes it can, when you're trying to push for something and you're so passionate about it, can come across a bit harsh, or it can come across, people can receive it in the wrong way. And I think that is what is happening in a lot of different ways. It's hard when a lot of people are getting their information from just social media, and so it's not really the full picture. So we're doing a lot of work with different prominent figures in the Black community to try and rectify things while we've got everyone's attention at the moment. So that's my stance on it for now. But you will slowly see more things with regards to what I've been doing come out slowly.
Incredible. Final one from me. Our old friend Paul Daly was talking recently to me about seeing you in his future. I mean, you're talking quite a lot about getting back obviously into title contention, but is Paul Daly in your future, or is that something which you've done, dusted, and you won the fight fairly, and you don't want to revisit? What's your take?
No, he's a person. He's got a face that you always just want to punch. So I'd definitely be happy to jump back in the cage with him, but it seems more, it's more just the emotional side of me talking. I don't think it benefits me in any way doing it, but maybe we can organize something and say, if he says he's retiring, maybe we can organize something in the future, in the far future, that we can just line our own pockets and just do something, just me and him, and organize our own event. But yeah, for now, it's not something that I care too much about. Like I said, the main person I'm focusing on is the Douglas Lima fight.
All right, that wraps it up. Thank you very much, Michael, and
thank you, guys.
We will be joined shortly by Ryan Scope. All right, we'll be joined here in a second by Ryan Scope. If you have questions, please use the raise hand button now. Okay, we're now being joined by Ryan Scope. We'll take a couple questions, starting with the question we received from Steve Jewin. Ryan, why did you decide to take this as a catch weight at 160?
That wasn't my choice. My original opponent, Paul Redmond, I think he must have been a bit heavy or something, so he asked for the fight at that weight, and I just said yes. I needed a fight. Now the opponent's changed, the weight just stayed the same, so it's whatever. I'm happy with the extra 3 kilograms.
And the follow-up is, what does it mean to you personally to be a part of a first ever MMA card in France?
Yeah, it's huge. It's like obviously what's the word I'm looking for? Mine's went blank. It's like it's a historical event, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm looking forward to doing the first show in France.
All right, we'll go to Jake Smith.
Hi, and how's it going? Hello?
Went a bit weird.
Hello?
Yeah, Jake, all right.
Can you hear us now? Yeah, we got. So, Ryan, I mean, Pitbull, Peter Queally, and now Alanoma, you certainly not want to sort of back down from these big fights. How important is it for you to keep taking on these big names?
Like I say, mate, like the last fight obviously was a bit unlucky, but I've never been the one to take easy fights. You know what I mean? Alame's 25-3 on short notice. A lot of people would have just said no, but I'm confident. Had a really good camp, and I'm ready for whoever.
You mentioned, of course, there's a short notice as well. How much time have you had to sort of study Alan's game, or is it something where you more focus on yourself and focus on your opponent going into a fight?
Yeah, more focused on myself. Obviously, I've watched a couple of tapes of him. I've seen some good things, some bad things. But I'm not going to dwell on it too much. I'm just going to go in there and do what I do.
What sort of version, I guess, of Ryan Scope can we expect to see? Because during lockdown, I know you've moved a little bit of your camp down to 4-corner combats as well to help develop. What version of Ryan Scope are we going to see there come Saturday night?
Just like the fittest, best version of Ryan Scope. You know what I mean? I've cut no corners this time. I've been criticised for being lazy in the past, and it's true. But this time it hasn't been the case. So I'm ready.
All right, Donna.
Hey, Ryan, could you talk us through what exactly happened with the Paul Redmond fight, and do you believe you two are going to cross paths again?
Possibly. I mean, Paul Redmond broke his thumb, I believe. So it's a shame, but it's a fight game, isn't it? These things happen. Which obviously training hard every day, twice a day. So you get injuries. Like I say, when I beat Alan, I'm going to be going in line for someone above Redmond. I would hope anyway. But if he wins his next fight, we can get it on. Definitely, if he still wants to.
Obviously, you were involved in your last fight. It was a legendary night in Dublin. Of course, it didn't go your way. But what are your memories of that evening and the whole build-up and what happened that night in Dublin?
First off, it was just a really sick atmosphere. Even though I was the bad guy, it was still fun. Do you know what I mean? I still buzzed off the crowd and everything. Obviously, I wasn't myself that night, as you could probably guess from the first round. And then I had no cardio. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have enough cardio to finish the fight. Obviously, Peter is a very tough opponent, hard to finish. But I think if I had just been a bit more clever and not rushed things, I would have got the job done.
You fought the both of them. Who wins when they eventually meet up, Peter Queally or Pitbull?
I definitely like Peter better as a person, so I'm going to go with Peter. But Pitbull can always catch you with that one shot, but Pitbull also gets tired, so Queally could drag him in the later round. So it is a tough one. I think if Queally would win, it would be by decision, and if Pitbull would win, it would be obviously by a knockout.
Last one from me. How important is it for you? Obviously, this show is going to be on the iPlayer. That's a huge deal in the UK. But also, you're going to be in front of fans again. I mean, of course, throughout this whole thing, we haven't had fans at an MMA event for God knows how long. How excited are you to be back in front of at least 1,000 people on Saturday night?
Yeah, it's good. Obviously, having the crowd there is good. And obviously, it's the first ever event in Paris. So it's going to be an experience. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, let's go to Lenny.
How's it going, Ryan?
All right, mate.
Yeah, so you're from your Northeast yourself. How important is it to get a win for the Northeast this weekend? Put Northeast on the map in the Bellator promotion.
Yeah, always. I'm where I'm from. Do you know what I mean? I love my city. I love where I'm born. All my friends and family back there going to be cheering for us, so that'd be good to bring it home.
I'm definitely not from the Northeast, but I live in the Northeast, so I kind of going to cheer for you, and hopefully you get the win this weekend. But how important it is for you to get the win this weekend, and does that kind of So I kind of lost my question there. So you're still to get your hand raised in the Bellator cage this weekend. Does that change, and how do you do it?
100% going to change. I'm going to walk out there and just put it on Alan from the bell, and just be in his face, and just being nasty. Do you know what I mean? And he's going to leave the loser.
All right, we'll go to Ben, followed by Matt.
Hello, Ryan. So you're obviously coming in on the first losing streak of your career, despite giving a very strong account of yourself in both of your Bellator appearances. Has there been any shift in your mentality going into this one to ensure that you get yourself back into the win column?
Yes, definitely. Just like I say, with my effort and training, my positive thinking, just believing in myself. Do you know what I mean? Believing in my abilities, not letting those demons creep in when they do. So I'm going to be as strong mentally and physically for this fight.
And also the past year or so, you've had a couple of fights fall through due to injuries. Do you have any problems? Did you have any issues basically maintaining your motivation during a bit of a difficult period?
Yeah, it was. I think it was tough for everyone. I think everyone was in the same boat. I got bored of backyard workouts after about a week, so it was hard to stay motivated. But once the pro athletes were given the go ahead to start back training and stuff, I was straight back in there.
Just one more from me. Where do you see yourself amongst the Bellator lightweight division once you get a win over a guy in Alan Omar, who's obviously very credible former UFC veteran?
As soon as I beat Alan, I'm going to be back in the mix. People are going to start talking about us again. Do you know what I mean? MMA people are fickle, so if you lose a couple, you get forgot about. But I'll be back, and I'll be back in with the best. I can easily hold. I've held it with Pitbull's brother. Patricio's the champion. I'll fight both of them. I don't care. Do you know what I mean?
All right, Matt.
Hiya, Ryan. You did mention that you're coming off back-to-back defeats, but to very credible opponents. Alan's obviously coming in 5 consecutive wins. Do you see things in his style which you can exploit to get you the victory come Saturday?
Yeah, Alan's obviously been fighting lesser people than I've been fighting. He lost a couple, and he's obviously handpicked a few of his last opponents. I've never done that, so that's obviously shows weakness in his character. But he is tough, and he is a veteran, and he's got good cardio. He'll be there. I know he's going to be digging until like he can't give any more. Do you know what I mean? But like I say, I think as long as I'm clever and I'm a lot more technical than he is in the stand-up game and on the floor, so I've got no worries.
Thank you for that.
All right. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much, mate. Cheers, brother.
Yep. All right. We will be joined here momentarily by Mads Brunel. If you have a question, go ahead and use the raise hand button now. Okay, we're now being joined by Mads Burnell. If you have
guys.
questions, go ahead and use the raise hand button. We will start with Philippe. Philippe, your line is live.
Hi, Mads, how are you? I'm Philippe from the Fight Site. Welcome to Paris. What's up, Philippe? How you doing? I'm doing great. I'm very pumped to see you fight this weekend. Actually, for me, you're kind of like the main event, bro. So, Thanks, man. I was super surprised that you signed with Bellator, but I was pleased with it. Can you talk how it came? Did you think you will sign to another big promotion that early after your Cage Warrior experience?
To be honest, I've been hot for Bellator for quite like a couple of years, and then it was natural, and then the opportunity was there, and it was just natural. So that was perfect.
That's pretty dope. Earlier this year, you did an interview with a colleague of mine called Ben. You did a long interview from Ben from the Fight Site, where you mentioned that.
Yep.
Yeah, we talk about Japanese neckties, boxing, and you mentioned that you had like a huge love for boxing, and that you will often get, in those months where you study one specific boxer, like a James Toney, Arthur Gatti. I saw you put some Johnny Tapia highlights recently. Can we expect some stuff from Johnny Tapia that I should watch on Saturday?
Not necessarily. Like that fight, I just really, really liked because they really went for it, like Paulie Ayala and Johnny Tapia, and it's just like throwback, nice fight, two great fighters duking it out. So that was really just for like the entertaining part. That fight, I can't really take something out of, but yeah, it was a good fight. I haven't really studied Johnny Tapia that much, other than he was, rest in peace, a cool fighter. Really cool fighter.
All right, question from Steve Jewin. Given your recent run of success here in Cage Warriors, are you at all disappointed with how your UFC stint went? And are you looking to prove something here on Saturday night?
So how I feel is like martial arts is MMA. It's like a learning process. And like I was young, I'm still young, and I learn on the job. I'm still learning. What I try to do is I just go out and perform to the best of my ability. That's all I can control. I cannot control results, this and that. All I can control is going out and performing to the best of my ability. And if I do that, then I'm going to have a great night.
Yeah. And a follow-up, the Japanese necktie, you've secured a couple of victories with that, I believe 4.
Yep.
What is it about that about that move that you find available so often?
I don't know. People stick their head out, and I take their head home with me. I don't know. Yeah, it just fits right into my game, and it's a good submission, a very underrated submission as well. I think a lot of people, if they actually trained or somebody showed them how to do the Japanese necktie, they would find it super easy to implement in their game. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go back to the questions from the callers here. Donna?
Hey, Mads. Can you talk me through what it was that made you sign with Bellator when you did? Of course, it came during pandemic times, and I'm sure there were a lot of things up in the air for you. But talk me through the decision to sign with Bellator.
Like I said, I've been hot for Bellator for like a lot of years. I think it's a super cool promotion, and like the production and the fighters. And it's not even something I say because I'm signed with Bellator, but I always had my eyes on like Douglas Lima and like the Pitbull brothers, Michael Chandler, all those guys. And I was like, yeah, man, it feels like the right thing, and it's natural. So it just felt like the right move to do. And here I am.
The COVID situation has, of course, slowed down everything in MMA, but particularly the Bellator featherweight division is now even more in limbo. There's even longer to wait for the big fights. Of course, the champion is locked up for theoretically 3 fights now. If he beats Pedro Carvalho, he's got another potential 2. What exactly is your goal right now for what you plan on accomplishing in the promotion?
My goal right now is on Saturday, the 10th of October. I just take one fight at a time, go out and perform, and keep performing. When I keep performing, it's logic where I'm going to end up. But right now, I just have one fight at a time, go in there, perform, and that's it.
Perhaps it's not a fair question because the situations are so different now. Obviously, during this period of time with COVID. The way that things are operating are different. But what are the big differences that you've noticed between being involved with the UFC and now your first fight week involved with Bellator?
Like it's super professional. Like it's super professional, both promotions. So yeah, people are nice here. Like in general, people are nice, but it's like two super professional promotions where everything is lined up and ready, and you show up on time. And yeah, I don't know what to say, to be honest.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Jay.
Jay.
Thanks very much. And Mads, first of all, I just want you to talk to us about this matchup a little, because I know Darko's not the best known guy, but he is coming off a couple of wins here.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see him as posing a threat?
I think he's pretty good everywhere, to be honest. He's a solid mixed martial artist. Yeah, he's a good fighter, pretty good standing, pretty good on the ground. But yeah, I just go in there and do me, and should be all good.
And I know a lot of people have been asking you about coming to Bellator and some of the reasoning behind it. How important has the inroads that Bellator has made in Europe been in your decision? Because they've really invested heavily in the European scene, with the European series, going to Paris for the first time, and obviously now today the BBC deal.
Like, I think, to be honest, it's a very good match. Like, Bellator is going big in Europe, and I'm a pretty big name in Europe, so it's a great match. And yeah, hope that answers your question.
It does, man. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to Ben Allen, followed by Lenny March.
Yep.
Mads, how you doing, mate?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. So last time we saw you in the cage, you put an incredible performance over Steve Aimable, showed off some incredibly crisp boxing for a guy who's sort of been known for his Japanese neckties. Yes. So are you starting to fall in love with your hands, or has that always been part of your game that you just never really got the chance to show off in the actual cage?
It has always been a part of my game. It's just a lot of times I've been able to take people down pretty easily and submit them. And why go in there and make a brawl when you can go home early and have a nice day with your family?
And just one more from me. Obviously, you've been launched into the Bellator featherweight division, which has some great names into it. I know a lot of guys are tied up in the Grand Prix at the moment, but what sort of guys in the division excite you as potential matchups for down the line?
I don't think that way right now. Like I said earlier, one fight at a time. But a dude I look up to be honest, I think he's a great fighter, is the current champ. I think he's a great fighter. And yeah, I wouldn't say, look up to, but I think he's a very great fighter, and he's all around. He's like one of the best out there. Yeah.
All right, we'll go to Lenny, followed by Santiago.
How's it going, Mads?
What's up, Lenny? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How about you?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, we'll move on to questions so we don't waste your time. So it'll be your Bellator debut this weekend. How important is it for you to start off with a win in your Bellator career?
How important is what? Sorry?
To start off with a win in your Bellator career.
Of course, it's important to start off with a win. But like I said earlier, I cannot control winning or losing. We've all seen fights where people go in and beat the living out of the other guy, and the other guy swings once, and then the dude is knocked out like a Rocky movie. All I can control is going in there and perform. And when I perform, it's going to be a good night.
Yep. Last one for me. You've got 8 career submission wins, as someone mentioned earlier, but you've never knocked someone out. What do you need to do to get that over the line?
I don't know. I don't even think about that. I know it's a boring answer. Like, if it's there, it's there. If it's there, it's there. If it's not there, then it's not there. It's funny because in my amateur fights, I had a couple of amateur fights. I actually only won by TKO or KO, but as a pro, I only won with submissions. That's pretty funny.
All right, Santiago, followed by Giancarlo.
Hi, Matt. Greeting from Amsterdam. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. I have 3 short questions for you. Is it true that Denmark didn't suffer that much from the pandemic?
No, we've had our fair share of the pandemic, I would say. I think you were thinking of Sweden. Maybe.
All right. Yeah, all right. So that's good. There's a lot of momentum behind Danish MMA. Can you feel that as well in Copenhagen?
Yes. Yeah, I can feel it a lot in Denmark. Before, Denmark used to be a boxing nation. And we had this world champion called Micheal Kessler, and everybody was behind him. But since he stopped, and a lot of Danish MMA fighters started doing good, then people turned towards MMA, and boxing is basically dead, and MMA is taking over back home. So yeah, I can definitely feel it.
And last thing for me, who is going to be in your corner? Is it Nikolai?
Yeah, Nikolai is going to be in my corner. That was quick.
Hey, I cut you off there. Sorry. We'll go to Giancarlo, followed by Philippe.
Hi, Mads. During this time, a lot of people had to adjust to this new norm with COVID and a lot of time off, maybe with the shutdown. Was there any hobbies you picked up during this time or anything you learned about yourself?
I play a lot of NBA 2K. I like FIFA, and I saved my Xbox 360 so I can still hand out a can of ass whooping for people who play Fight Night Champion.
That's awesome. And final question for me. You spoke on there about your Danish MMA. Who are some of the guys on your team who have really helped you out in your career so far and have been the biggest part of it?
I have Damir Hatzovic, and we have Louis Glisman, and then we have a lot of wrestlers and jiu-jitsu players at the gym, and then of course my coaches, Mikko Palo, Coach Kupti, and Jesper Brango.
Thanks a lot. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Luis.
Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
How much different was this fight week for you?
I think the biggest difference has been that we have to be in quarantine, and we got like a stick. It felt like it was this long up in our nose to get checked for COVID. That might have been the biggest difference.
You're a former UFC fighter, and you're a former now you're a former cage warrior. What can you tell us about your career?
What can I tell about my career? Like, I'm young, I'm coming. I'm hungry.
All right, let's go to Nat.
Hi, Mads. You have an exceptional submission win percentage. Do you believe that this is how the fight plays out come this Saturday?
I have a saying that when I go into a fight, I don't expect or predict anything because it's a fight. And if you go there and expecting something, you're probably going to get knocked the hell out. So I just go in there, do me, adapt. Whatever happens, happens.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and our last question, we'll go back to Philippe.
Is that the $1 million question? Who is going to win the NBA title?
Oh, I can ask you. I think the Lakers gonna win, but no, I have a better question on that.
Okay.
Who do you think is gonna win, Lomachenko or Teofimo Lopez? I know you must like Lopez because he used some of the same slips and defense that you do.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what you think of that fight, if you had time to think about it.
I think Lomachenko is gonna win. I don't see anybody that's better or actually near Lomachenko's level out there. I think it might be a little too early for Teofimo Lopez right now. I think it's a little too early. And Lomachenko is so experienced and he's so slick, man. He can box up close. He can box from a distance. He can move. He got all the small subtle details. Like, to me, it might sound crazy, but to me, he might be the closest thing we've ever had to a perfect boxer. Like, his hand position is always correct. Like, he's always like in good balance. He's always where he can hit you and you can't hit him. It's beautiful to watch Lomachenko. So I think Lomachenko is going to win. But
thank you very much,
Teofimo Lopez is great, though.
All right, and with that, we will wrap things up. Thank you very much, Mads. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be back shortly with Oliver and Tim.
Have a great evening.
All right, we'll be joined shortly with Oliver Enkamp. If you have questions, go ahead and use the raise hand button now. All right, we're now being joined by Oliver Enkamp. A couple questions for you here. How have preparations for this fight been as far as the pandemic is concerned in Sweden?
Yeah, so we had a bit more relaxed approach to the pandemic, and at first few months before summer, we had to train outside. So it was more strength and conditioning based. But for the past 8 weeks, which has been the length of my fight camp, I've been able to train as usual. So I wouldn't say it has been affected really.
And since coming to Bellator, you're 2-0 with 2 first-round finishes. Is there anything specific or any changes in your training that you attribute that success to?
I think it's a matter of focus, and like I was fighting mostly local shows in Sweden before I got a short notice fight on the first big league when the UFC came to Sweden in 2017. And that was kind of my first interaction with a really high level, and I learned so much from there. And I think I just brought everything with me from every fight to Bellator, and I had a good momentum. So, I mean, now my third fight will probably be even better because I've learned so much from these first 2 ones, even though they were quick finishes.
All right, great. We got a question from Steve Jewin, MMA Mania. He says, you're already called the future. So what does that future look like for you with a win over Emmanuel Dawa on Saturday?
Well, that's funny because that name was given to me like 6 years ago. I don't feel like the future. I feel like the present now. So we can change it to the present. But to answer your question, I'm looking at one fight at a time. So now my focus is on Saturday. But after that, I would really like to fight in Sweden because it's been rumored that Bellator is going to come to Stockholm. And that would be a very nice fourth fight for me. So if it's on the horizon, I'm going to wait and hold for that and hopefully be like a main event or co-main maybe.
Awesome. We've got a couple questions here. We'll go to Ben Allen.
Hello, Oliver. You're 2 for 2 now in Bellator with 2 first-round finishes, very eye-catching. I know you want to fight in Sweden next, in an ideal world, but do you think a win could potentially catapult you even into the title picture?
Oh, I don't know. To be honest, I don't really follow the division or fighting that much because to me, martial arts is a very personal journey. So I'm so focused into my own training and the development. So I don't really know who's like the top ranked guys, but I just want to fight whoever the fans would like me to see most to make exciting fights because I view this more as an entertainer than an competitor.
And last one from me, you're going to be taking on Emmanuel Dawa of France, obviously in France on a night of huge significance to the country's mixed martial arts scene. How do you see this fight playing out? And would you take some pleasure in spoiling the party for the French faithful?
Absolutely. I think this will be a very entertaining fight because he is very powerful and athletic, just like me, and comes from 2 finishes. So even though I always prefer to have like a
3-round all-out war, I think this fight will probably end pretty early.
All right, we'll go to Matt.
Hi, Oliver. Your nickname, The Future. What does a win over Emmanuel do for your future?
Hopefully, it will get me the main event spot of Bellator Sweden next. That's what I'm hoping for.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks for that.
All right, we'll now go to Donna Corby.
All right. I know that you just said that you don't particularly follow the division too much and you're not too concerned with what else is happening in the division. But that being said, does it irritate you a little bit that Ross Houston shows up in your division and without a warm-up fight, without fighting anybody, he's put right in with MVP and with a big name and he's in the main event? Does that annoy you at all that he's sort of overtaken you in the division already?
It doesn't annoy me as much as it surprised me, to be honest. I know he's a very hyped name, but to be honest, I think he's taking water over his head. Do you use that expression in English too? No, okay, it's a Swedish expression. He's in for more than he asked for. I think that's
he bit off more than he can chew, is what we would say.
Yes, that's what I mean. I used the Swedish one. Anyway, yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. I haven't seen any Ross fights, so I'm not counting him out. But I know MVP is really high level, and it will be interesting to see if he has anything to put up against him.
I don't want to get too political or anything, but I do want to ask about the situation in Sweden throughout this whole thing. It's been a thing of great controversy worldwide. It's been polarizing. People have thought you did a great job, or people have thought you were irresponsible. The Swedish. What was your feeling throughout the last few months on when you were at home?
I think, well, I don't have any numbers to compare, but I mean, we have had a very relaxed approach to it. And in my closest, like, bunch of friends and family, nobody has gotten it. And we have been able to live more or less as usual. At first, we had some restrictions, and we had to, because I'm also a martial arts school owner, so I had to adapt to all the guidelines and move our trainings outside. So it was a bit of a struggle at first, but I think it would have been much worse to be locked down and not being able to go out and wearing these everywhere. So I feel Sweden has taken a pretty good approach, and I hope I don't offend anyone who's had trauma experiences from COVID. But as far as I know, no one in Sweden close to me has gotten it. So I feel we went the right approach.
Is it possible? Is it strange for you? I know that everybody coming into the bubble has, into bubbles in boxing and MMA has they've been on various levels of lockdown themselves. They know kind of the drill. Is it jarring for you? Does it affect you negatively to have to go into such a strict environment now, whereas you're from the country that was probably most relaxed towards this?
Not really. I mean, I've been quarantined now in my room for 3 days, but I brought plenty of good books and a computer with Netflix. So what
have you been watching?
Cobra Kai.
Oh God.
Yeah. It's a bit nostalgic since I come from a karate background. So yeah, I saved it for this trip.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Santiago.
Hi, Oliver. Greetings from Amsterdam. How are you doing?
Fine, thanks. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. I have 3 short questions for you.
Right.
Your Bellator debut was in London during a post-Lim fight. Had you ever done this before, and how did that fight feel for you?
To be honest, that was horrible. I think I spent 11 hours in the same locker room because we weren't allowed to go outside, and I didn't bring any food or anything because they told me everything would be at the venue, so I could buy things there. During the night, I was the last fight on the undercard, so the main cards has to start at a televised time, you know. So all the fights before mine went like 3 rounds. So as time passed, they had to move my fight to start the televised main card right on time. And so I had already warmed up and was prepared to go out and fight. And they came back and told me like, okay, we have to postpone your fight, maybe 4 or 5 fights. So 4 fights later, I start to warm up again, getting that feeling. And then they come back to tell me, no, it's going to be like 3 or 4 more fights. So I went to rest, got up again, started warming up again. And this procedure happened 4 or 5 times. Me warming up, you know, getting all the jitters and getting ready to go out and fight. And it ended up with me going to sleep. And when I woke up, I was so hungry. The main card was going on. My coach was the only one who could go out, run around the arena to find something to eat. I hadn't eaten in like 8 hours. So my fight fuel was like a big hot dog and a Coke, not what I would prefer. And then when I finally got to fight was after the main event. So it was after midnight. It was like 12:30 or something, and I was supposed to fight like 7:30. So that was a very challenging experience, but the only thing I could comfort myself with was that my opponent had the same treatment. So yeah, I got the win.
Amazing that you still got the finish. Yeah, that was special. So there's a lot of momentum behind Swedish MMA right now with you, with Gus, with Chimaev. Can you feel that as well in Sweden?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of great up-and-comers as well. So I think MMA will only grow in Sweden, which is great for the sport and for all athletes, because I feel we need to look at this like we're growing Swedish MMA and not compete inside the country that much. So I'm just happy for everyone's success.
Do you think Bellator would already be in Sweden if it wasn't for this pandemic?
I think so, because they were talking about it already last year or at the beginning of this year. I heard the rumors. So hopefully early in 2021.
Okay, we'll go to Lenny and then now.
How's it going, Oliver?
All good, thanks.
Yeah, so Bellator making history this weekend, being the first major promotion to hold an event in France. How does it feel to be part of that history this weekend?
Very cool to be a part of MMA history and also to touch new ground. I was hoping that it would be a Swedish Bellator event this time around, but this is the next best thing, I guess. And after a win here, maybe we'll get that 4th fight in Sweden.
Yeah, the last one for me. So a huge fight for the welterweight division takes place on the same card as you, MVP versus Houston. Right. Maybe if you win and you will take the winner of that fight, would that be a possibility if you get in the winner of that fight that weekend?
Whatever Bellator and the fans feel like for me, I mostly put focus on myself and my performance. So I don't really care who I face. I don't have a lot of insight into the other fighters in the division, to be honest. To me, fighting is a very personal journey. So yeah, whoever the fans want to see me fight, let's do it.
Yeah, thank you so much and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, that's actually all we've got. Thank you very much for your time.
Cool, thank you.
All right, we'll be joined shortly by Czech Congo. Okay, if you've got any questions for Chet, go ahead and use the raise hand button, and then we'll get to you. All right, we apologize for the delay. Czech will be joining us here in just a couple minutes, so stand by. All right, we're now being joined by Czech Congo. If you have any questions, go ahead and use the raise hand button. We'll get started with Jay Anderson.
Hey, thanks very much. And Czech, first and foremost, congratulations on finally being able to fight in France at home. What does this opportunity mean to you?
It's great. It's kind of one of the final steps, around the world about the MMA regulation and legalization of the sports. So now, French citizen can enjoy the fact to assist, on live, to the sports events, and now they can train, and be prepared for the event with all the supports with sponsors and federation in France.
This feels like it's been a long time coming, but was there any point where you worried that you might actually be retired before MMA was ever legalized in France?
No, sure. The plan was to be retired way before, and after that, I used to get some wings and more gas in the tank to keep performing. So it was great. So, and now, on Saturday, we have the first event in France, legalized, and it's amazing, for sure. I was expecting that moment sooner, but today at 45 years old, it's just like it's a kind of blessing, yes. Quite a bit of frustration because of the pandemic, all the crowd won't be able to fill up the facility, but it's a good start. So step by step.
And it's great to see that there'll be at least be some fans in the building. Now, this is a rematch for you. You fought Tim a couple of years ago. He's had success in his last couple of fights, but do you see him as having changed or grown much as a fighter since then?
Everybody changed, everybody changed a bit more confidence and go through about what they expect to do. So for that bout, I just have to stay aware. Try to be aggressive, let him come, in the game and just reply as I have to do. Nothing else. The thing is, for sure, I have to adapt my style as I try to do with the others. So, just bring another win. That's the most, satisfactions for sure. In the country, I have to sediment that win properly, with I should say with a good knockout, but you never know and you never expect when the knockout's coming. So that's why I'm not the kind of guys, who love to talk about it because, I'm not a magician or someone predict the future.
Jamin?
Czech, I had heard rumors before this fight got scheduled that there was talks of you fighting and rematching Ryan Bader this summer, and he ended up fighting Vadim Nemkov instead. Was there any truth to that? Did you have any discussions about fighting Bader before this fight with Tim Johnson came together?
Yes, he was I used to hear, that news, pretty well, and I was really for it, and at the last minute, he ran away and he decided to fight for the light heavyweight. But at some point, the thing is, for sure, my the way I used to get beat up was quite bitter to me because that's what I wanted to do on him first, but his opponent did it. So at the end, I was just like, what, that's fine. Just get the time to recover. And for sure, if everything is going very well by December and January, we will be able to put the dish again and get stuff on the right way. Yeah.
I feel like I know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it anyways. If everything goes well this week and you beat Tim Johnson a second time, do you feel like the Bader rematch will be next?
Oh, for sure. Definitely, yes.
Thank you, Czech.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll go to Ben Allen, followed by Donna Corby.
Bonsoir, Czech.
Bonsoir.
Obviously it's a huge significant moment for France, and you've been the poster boy for French MMA for so long now. We're starting to see a load of French talent emerging through. Who stands out to you out of the next generation of French MMA talent?
Oh, we have so many. The thing is, a few of them signed to UFC. We have also some guys here in Bellator, but it's huge. It's huge. Everybody have the potential to be great, especially the one who used to bleed for the sport. And because just like everywhere, you always have people coming for the sports just to be seen, try to be famous, just for the fame. Yes, do the sport just for the fame, and they realize, when they get hit pretty hard, they just give up and get out of the track. So, but here, people see that as a second life, as a second life, because for them it's just a patient. They used to become a patient, when they used to follow the sport all over the world through the network. Some of them used to travel to train with big names just to improve the games and get as well the experience. How the other country guys used to train, and what they miss in the French trainings. So, and they keep evolving, keep learnings. So yes, we have some really good talented, really good talented fighters. So for that, I'm not doubting my concern, and also my wish is to make sure, those guys performing, get focused on what they do. Because sometimes, when you're doing very well, especially here, you get a little bit, not cocky, but just distracted by the performance, thinking like nothing can touch you. And at the end, surprise, they lose, get disappointed. And from that, sometimes, for the big athletes, it's pretty hard to come back. So, but for sure, here the French tank of fighters is well furnished. Yes.
And at 45 years of age now, you're on the form of your life. You're in the shape of your life, arguably. Do you have any plans at all to basically hang up your gloves at a certain time, or are you just going to ride this train until the wheels fall off?
Sorry, say it again.
So you're 45. You're on the winning. You're on the best winning form for a while. You look physically in great shape. Do you have plans for retirement, or are you just taking it fight by fight?
Honestly, I take it fight by fight. The thing is, as I said, I still have some gas in the tank, and the funny part of this is, I'm angry. I mean, I'm angry. Sorry, not angry, but I'm angry, and I like it. It's not technically, it's not for sure. The motivation is for sure. You have the motivation for the money, but it's just about the performance, and I like that. I really like it, and for sure, I do all the type of bunch of exercise, mental, to making sure I'm able to react properly, because for sure with the age, you're not having the right reflex, and everything is about reflex. Reflex, attitude, the way you learn, the way you spar, and the way you visualize the fight in actions, and that's a good point of my system to make me a great fighter at 45 years old.
Merci beaucoup, Check.
All right, don't know.
Check. This is a very strange time in the world right now. There's a lot going on. Obviously, you're in a bubble for this preparation. You've fought in so many different arenas. You've fought in so many different promotions and at different times in the sport's history. How have you found the current preparations for a fight as opposed to your previous one?
The thing is, for sure, it's not easy. Quite difficult, but the good thing is my team, my training camp in California, Huntington Beach. So the Huntington Beach Ultimate Training Center used to set up the facility to give us the access. So, I mean, give the access to the fighters to prepare to get prepared in safety. You know, they did a really good job. You know, Tiki Coach did a really good job with Paul Herrera to protect us. You know, making sure we have the proper training. We can be ready. And for any kind of issues, and that's what I did. You know, so it wasn't easy, but I think the struggle I used to face was to always quite been skeptical, not afraid, but just skeptical about who I used to face during my training camp. But the good thing is everybody used to come, used to be familiar. So the complicity, the trust, used to be there no matter what. And we just used to talk each other to know if someone is sick or not, not thinking like, oh, he's lying to me. And I think the guys bring some disease or whatever. Everybody used to be concerned and clear about that. And at some point, I should say, it was easier. The thing is, I used to train like COVID didn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Last one for me. I did want to ask you talked about Ryan Bader. I know that you want him next after a win this Saturday. But could I get your analysis of his unsuccessful title defense against Vadim Nemkov?
Sure. Yeah. So the thing is, right away. So Emelianenko used to rush him. They used to face each other just to analyze the move, and at the time he just rushed him. He just threw bombs, and at the time he throws as well combo, and Bader wasn't able to react. Mm-hmm. Because I think he used to bring the same game. That's what he did, and also the same confidence, and that's the way he get hit. Because also Bader didn't like to receive to get beat. He doesn't like that. So he's not the kind of guys who can exchange on the really big brawl. Me, you. No, he doesn't like that. Yeah. And that's the thing also who affected him because he was scared. The thing is when he gets hit, just like said Mike Tyson, everybody have a game plan, but when they get hit, boom, big difference.
Thank you.
Giancarlo?
Hi, Chuck. You're fighting now Demetrious Johnson second time. Does it make it more difficult, though, to prepare for a rematch like this because the last time you guys fought, it was such a short fight?
Yes, because you're always expecting to get the same results. So, and during that times, my guys, Timothy was grinding so bad to get better. So, and now you're gonna face me with another game. So just like, whoa, what to expect from him now? What I should do, be aware, and what I should do. So, and the good thing is, I never think about the guys fighting the same times. They always bring something else. And for my concern for this, it would be like, oh, no matter what, you're gonna try to take me down for the fight, and if not, you're gonna try to throw me the big punches he can. But the key for him would be like put him down. You're gonna say, hey, I have to put him down. I have to put Cheick Kongo down because I don't like his striking. And the thing is, sometimes it's about it's a part of strategy or of game plan when you let some guys put you down because you need to rest, and at the time you can handle the situation and not putting yourself in danger when some guys put you on the ground. And the thing is, I don't want to be cocky, but in my career I never been in danger when I was in the ground. Probably one guy used to affect me pretty well, but I was injured. But he did was Kenny Velasquez. So, and the second one shook me like a chicken as Frank Mir, but but for sure he was juiced. So the thing is, at this level, I'm not worried to be in the ground. So he can go. The thing is at some point, because he knows and think, my weakness will be on the ground. So, but at this level, he will be surprised, and I will reverse the pressure. So that's the reason, he will come, do what he need to do to win, and I will do what I have to do to clarify it wasn't a mistake on the first bout. Same result, same issue, second times, and of course in France.
Yeah, and you're now, you had 8 straight wins before that no contest with Ryan Bader. If you win this fight and for whatever reason the Bader fight doesn't happen for the title, would you be interested in fighting Fedor as one of his final fights?
I don't care. I'm here to fight. The thing is, the crowd want me to fight. Bellator want me to fight. I will fight. That's it. Somebody hold the title for no reasons, and I should say, what the fuck? I used to be in the game and spending my time for 4 years not able to fight for the titles. What the fuck? Anywhere you can go, it's just what the fuck is that joke? Nobody used to fight for the title, and even interim. I'm not greedy. I'm not. But just put on the table the interim belts. It's gonna be good to face the actual champion or whatever, But even that, no opportunity. So it seems like I was a ghost. Yeah.
I'll take one from Rick.
Hello, how are you?
Really good. Thank you.
My question is, how hungry you are, how hungry you are getting back on the winning to get Ryan Bader back on the fight?
How angry I am. You will see that on Saturday. The thing is, if you see my quarter, nothing used to be pleasant for me since I was born. I always used to grind every day to be a better person, to deserve what I deserve. And sometimes, you get people push the things away from you, and it's just annoying. But at some point, I have nothing else to say more than that. When you used to grind and improve and show people, how good you are, and how hard you work to preserve and maintain, the level, it can give you the ability to think about, yeah, this guy is still in the game, especially today at 45 years old. 45 years old, no juice, nothing about that, And I do my best. I do my best to be clear, to be fair, to do the job that everybody have to do. Some of the guys, some of my colleagues, failed, but I'm one of them, I should say, yeah, I'm probably the only one to perform in a good way, So I do my best. I'm just grinding, The thing is, I want to be a better person for myself. I prove things to myself, not to everyone. Nothing to prove, just to myself. And the way I perform today at 45, give you the definition about how angry I am.
I'll take just a couple more, so we'll keep it to one per question, starting with Ben. All right, we'll move on to Luis.
Hi, Chick. Let me do this one in French.
Yes.
C'est 2020 et finalement nous sommes ici, le premier événement en France. Pensez-vous que vous deviez être là cet samedi soir pour le début, pas seulement pour Bellator, mais pour MMA sur les rangs de ligue?
Si j'ai bien compris ta question, c'est clair que j'attendais cet événement avec impatience. Donc, je savais qu'il allait se faire en ma présence, mais je pensais que ça allait se faire plus tôt que maintenant. Je pensais que ça allait se faire quand j'avais peut-être 38 ans, 37 ans. Mais aujourd'hui, à 45 ans, ça arrivait et j'ai dit ouf, enfin. Donc, c'est une belle satisfaction, c'est une belle nouvelle. Et j'espère effectivement apporter du moins de mon expérience et surtout de ma prestance pour pouvoir donner le relais justement à la nouvelle génération française.
C'est tout, Chick, et merci beaucoup.
Merci à toi.
All right, we'll go to Lenny.
How's it going, Congo?
Followed by Matt.
How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Really good, thank you.
Yeah, so since joining Bellator, you've been on an absolute tear. You fought with some of the best guys in Bellator, and in your last fight, and probably the most important fight in your Bellator career, it was stopped due to an eye poke. How bad was the poke, and do you think it should have been continued?
Honestly, if I could continue the fight, I will do it no matter what.
Yeah.
But at the time, my vision was divided in 5 sides. I wasn't able to see everything at the mid of the globe under, but everything I was about to see on top, but like as a prism. So I have like a four side of view, and everything. It seems like when you broke the glass and you have some fissure, it was the same way.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, our last question will come from Matt.
Hey, Chick. You've had more than double the amounts of fights that Tim's had, and you've already got the victory over him once. Do you think your experience will be key to you getting the victory on October 10th? And also, how proud are you that this is taking place in Paris?
So for sure, just to reply to about the proud. So it's great, It's great to show to the French citizen, they are a really good athlete. We're gonna perform to the country, show them the way, making sure, hopefully all the French fighters we follow the same legacy I used to do, and it's great. It's wonderful, especially for the kind of event, that people used to wait for years. And what I should say about Timothy, the thing is, I could be cocky and just say, yes, Timothy gonna be here. He's here. I'm gonna fuck him up and blah blah blah. But it's not my cup of tea. I have so much respect for my opponents. But and also it's not because I don't like to talk to them, but as a human being, for sure it's not easy to win. It's not easy to lose. And even when I win, somebody cry. And when I lose, somebody being crazy, and for sure it's not easy to carry that. But the thing is about that situation, I should say for sure I'm well experienced than Timothy, but you never know. Everything can happen really fast. So at this level, my concern is to not let him the chance to play his game.
Yeah.
So I'm here to win. I'm a competitor. I'm not here. For me, it's not holidays. I'm not here to visit my family and say, hey, I'm good. I'm back now, so we can enjoy the good and having good times. I will get some good time with them after the bout. But from now, I used to be in quarantine. I used to be isolated, for the fight, making sure I would be able to perform, and stay away and be COVID free. So Timothy is, have the skills to end the fight at any time, but I won't let him do it on my person. I'm here to win, and I have unfinished work or even meal with the better. So I want to join the guys to share, some good potatoes and strawberry in his fucking face.
All right, with that, we will wrap things up. Thank you very much, Czech. Appreciate your time.